Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, and today we have a live reaction replay featuring the Tier 10 Dutch cruiser, the Golden Lion. Now, the Golden Lion is a pretty interesting boat because it is essentially the Scharnhorst we have at home, but she does also come with airstrikes, meaning that she can call an aircraft from the ether and drop HE bombs upon the enemy ships. What's also interesting about the Golden Lion is that she did recently get, well, I say recently, it was like I think several months ago, her own unique upgrade, which gives her an additional charge of these airstrikes. She normally only has 2. If you observe down below, this one has 3. So that's a little bit of foreshadowing there, dear viewers. And we're also on 2 brothers, so if you're decent at doing math, you can put 2 and 2 together and see what might be coming. So the Golden Lion today is being driven by Alpha. Alpha sent me this replay about 2 or so weeks ago. I've been sitting on it for a bit. I think today is the appropriate time to share it. I mean, we just got done talking about unique upgrades for battleships on Tuesday's video, and there were several commenters asking where this ship's unique upgrade was, even though it is essentially a Scharnhorst. In game, she's classified as a heavy cruiser and not a battleship at tier 10. I do quite like the Golden Line. She makes the pain of the Dutch cruiser grind worth it. The Dutch cruiser line, it's not really that fun of a line until you get to like the tier 9, the Johan de Witt. Then it gets a little bit spicy from there on out, and the Golden Line is very much worth it, in my humble opinion. What's really weird is that these ships were pitched as being the counters to all the island camping, the island hugging, yet they're also very excellent island huggers because of the airstrikes, and their guns are also surprisingly very good at HE spamming, because it just seems that they have like napalm coated shells or something. It's like it will start fires. It's not if it will start fires, it's when it's going to start fires, right? But yeah, speaking of the airstrikes, so let's see how Alpha does. You do have to give the airstrikes a bit of a lead because it does take a second for them to get there. They're not all that dissimilar to the submarine airstrikes, in that you select an area, you send in the planes. There's a timer that starts ticking down, and of course, the further you are from the ship, I do believe it can increase the drop time. So it looks like he was anticipating that Schlieffen to beach on that island. Looks like the Schlieffen has beached on that island. 5 hits with his bombs and 1 fire already. He taps Stalingrad stern there for a little over 3,000 damage. AP would probably be better in this situation, although the Golden Lion's guns aren't overly accurate by any stretch of the imagination. It's very much a close-range ship. Gets a couple more hits there on the Stalingrad. I'm also surprised he didn't kill him there. Drops the last 2 airstrikes this round on the Schlieffen. Now, the airstrikes, they do reload one at a time, so they don't reload all 3 together like a CV's planes do. So you do have to wait for them to slowly get back up. Another 4 hits on the Schlieffen and another fire on him. But looks like the Schlieffen did hold his damage count and popped it for those 2 fires. It looks like we have a Duncan trying to weasel his way up the middle. Now, the bombs that are dropped by the Golden Lion, they do have, let me see if it tells us here again, I think it's like 40-something, okay, 37 millimeters of armor penetration, which sounds pretty good, and against lightly armored targets, it is, so like battle cruisers and other cruisers, but battleships, you tend to, unless you run into like the British or the French, of course, the middle deck of most battleships is a lot thicker than that. But I mean, we do have a Duncan coming up the middle here whose armor is quite thin, so this could be very profitable for our main character here. Looks like he's also looking at this Awami. What is the Awami going to go up the middle too? Looks like he's kind of gearing for it. Drops an airstrike on the Awami. And as far as the situation goes, looks like that Stalingrad was, well, there goes the friendly gearing. But I'll say that Stalingrad is the only thing that's dead by the 5-minute mark, which is pretty rare for a higher tier. 6 hits, 1 fire on the Iwami there. But yeah, no, normally by now, it's a little bit more lethal at this point. But this game seems to be taking a more slower paced approach. Although there's, again, a Duncan charging up the middle by the 5-minute mark. Looks like he is going to be stopping there. So going to, be tossing it into reverse. Does have his engine boost going. Let's see how lucky Alpha will get here with his airstrikes. And He's waiting to see how hard he's going to turn. Okay, this should be pretty good. I mean, again, Duncan has like no armor, you know, compared to other tier 10 battleships. And then let's get that Wamidid Bill on that push. Ooh, this is pretty good. He's got most of the Duncan in his drop. There we go. That was a little over 12,000 damage and 3 fires on the Duncan, who did, of course, immediately put it out. He's looking for an opportunity to lob his shells over that island right there. Oh, here comes a Schlieffen from 9 kilometers, just absolutely charging up the A-cap. I don't know if that's the best thing to do when there's a Shikishima right there staring at him. And again, McGear that he's pushing into. Although it looks like the Izuma is getting slaughtered by those secondary. Oh, actually, that wasn't the secondaries. That was the Shazong shells. So, like the enemy team does have quite the momentum over at the A-cap. Yep, here comes the Schlieffen. Is the Duncan? Did he give up, or do we think he's pushing back up the middle again? See, again, at this point, I would swap to AP because you have a whole Schlieffen broadside at 8 kilometers. Even from 8 kilometers, the Schlieffen actually murders the Yamagiri. Take out the Super Destroyer for the friendly side. Did break the German torpedo tubes, as is tradition with the German torpedoes. Once they are approached by HE shells, they tend to just cease existing. Schlieffen's got some AP out on Alpha. Eats it, because the bow armor of the Golden Lion is not that great, even though, again, the design is based on a Scharnhorst. It's not nearly as tanky as Scharnhorst, unfortunately. Okay, so the Schlieffen does get taken out. So the friendly side is down 2 destroyers, 1 super destroyer, 1 cruiser, 1 battleship. Enemy side is only down a cruiser and a battleship so far. If you look at the minimap too, the western flank is pretty much open for the enemy team to push up. Granted, you do have a Conqueror and a Shikishima sitting there along the sea line, which, I mean, those are 2 very, very painful ships to try and push up into. Conqueror with her British HE shells and Shikishima with her 20-inch guns. Oh, but the Duncan's going for it again, ladies and gentlemen. 1, 2. Ah, his 3rd airstrike isn't up just yet. Ooh. This is going to be pretty good. Looks like he got this almost oh my god, he did. That overlapping section in the middle is going to be terrible for this Duncan. 1 strike down, 2 strike down. There he goes. 14 hits on the Duncan, starting 3 fires, but it doesn't matter because the Duncan does simply cease to exist. Alright, so Guardian of the Middle right there with the Golden Line. Again, look at this. He's sitting on an island, very much like an American cruiser would do. Again, ironically, the cruisers that are meant to counter the island-hugging cruisers are also very excellent island-hugging cruisers, so that's pretty funny. Alright, so now the Burgon is pushing up the A-cap. And I'm assuming he's got the rest of his team with him, the Brindisi, the Rigno, and the Shazong. Burgon's another ship that is also quite susceptible to the airstrikes because it is coated in 32 millimeters of armor, threshold which these bombs can easily get through. So he's going to get his main guns in the fight as well. And looks pretty good. The Burgon's slowing down. He's going to hit most of his front deck. He's going to hit a fair amount of his turrets too, though. 4 pins, though. Every single bomb that hit, pinned. Oh, yeah, there's that Brindisi. Yep, looks like the enemy team is very much pushing up the side. Burgon's getting his 15-inch guns out on the Golden Lion. Eats a pretty good chunk there, although not as bad as it could have been. Looks like Alpha is very much like me, and he enjoys riding his adrenaline rush. Oh, there he goes. He pops his heel. Brindisi is going full tilt also into the enemy, friendly team. It looks like he is turning around now. Burgon throws it into reverse, which Alpha does not mind because, you know, Burgon, despite being pretty fast in reverse, as is French tradition, he is not quite as fast as he is in full ahead. Alright, so there you go. Another flight out on the Burgon. Brindisi way out there. I was going to say way out there. It's 12 kilometers away. Granted, with the lack of accuracy from the main battery guns, the Golden Loop, that is kind of way out there. Nicks him a little bit, gets 1,200 damage. I think he's going to kill that Burgon there. Yes, he is. Another 3 bomb hits and his 2nd kill of the match. And the friendly GK and Petropavlovsk have absolutely sprinted down the mid to get to the C-cap. Now, that's a combo if you want to push down the middle. A Petropavlovsk and a GK, talk about some tankiness. Throwing the radar that the Petropavlovsk has, the Petropavlovsk guns, and the GK secondaries. That's some real firepower and tankiness. AP out on the Brindisi broadside from 12 kilometers. He does taunt. Oh, very nice. Okay, I will stop slandering the Golden Lion's guns there because that was good. That was hot. That was very hot. Deb strike on the Brindisi. Now, keep in mind that the The friendly team is losing. They don't have the cap advantage. Well, the caps are even right now, but they don't have the point advantage, and they do not have the ship advantage. They are down on ships and down on points at this moment. But behold, a Harugumo and a Sejong. Now that most of the battleships are gone over here, all the enemy team battleships are gone over here, Golden Lion is now very much angry, right? Because she can bully these other cruisers and destroyers. She has great HE for dealing with destroyers, and the AP is very much capable of dealing with cruisers like that Shazong that was broadside. I'm surprised she didn't take the shot there. On the Harugumo, oof, misses him by a few pixels. Probably would have done a number on that Shazong, because as I'm sure most of you guys know, the Pan-Asian cruiser line, they're really just a bunch of big Atlantis. Shows that island who's a boss. Shikishima takes out the Harugumo, and the GK takes out the Minotaur. Okay, the teams are now even on ships, but they are not on points. Enemy team still has a little bit of a lead. Drops 2 charges of his airstrike on the Shazong. Let's see if he managed to guesstimate where he was at, or did he whiff his shots? And looks like he's going to tag him a little bit there. Yes, there we go. Knocks out a turret, does about 6,000 damage, has a broadside of the Shazong. Puts AP in the tubes, gets the HE out on him though. Is he going to get the kill, or is he going to get yoinked away from him? Now it's just a race to see whose guns can reload faster. The Petro is right there, although the Petro does have a pretty long reload time. Petropavlovsk yoinks the kill from Alpha there. Very sad indeed. Alright, so out east you have a Loria, a Darlarna, a Patri, and what's that other? Is the Awami still alive? The Awami is still alive, and that's a pretty powerful combo there. You got a Super Destroyer, a Super Battleship, a Loria with her 18-inch sap, and an Awami. Ooh, yeah, there we go. GK goes down. So the enemy team, despite losing the A cap here, they do still have the advantage for the time being, and they do have the ship advantage. They definitely have the side advantage because they have their Darlarna still up, while the friendly team has no DDs left alive. So they can get outspotted by the enemy team. And the Darlarna is also a pretty good torpedo boat because, again, super destroyer, right? So they're pushing down to the C cap now. I wonder which way the enemy team is going to go. I would assume they would move down to C to try and take that cap back. Although the Darlarna last spot, it was over right by the B cap, so he's probably going to go for that. At least, I mean, I would. You want to get that cap back. That way you stop losing the points game, which the friendly team is now winning. Looks like Alpha is having the same thought process here too. Conqueror is going over to B. We don't really want to leave any ship alone at this point because, I mean, you know, a 2-on-2 fight's a lot fairer fight than a 1-on-2 fight, and then, you know, it might become a 1 versus 3 fight depending upon what the enemy team does. The Conqueror is coming face to face with the Loria. Loria can absolutely bully the Conqueror with her 18-inch sap because of the Conqueror's thin armor. Oh, they have split up. Okay, the Patri. I'm not 100% sure the exact layout of the Patri's armor, but it is French. I know there's a lot of 32 involved. So this should be a pretty good target for Alpha's bombers. He's throwing his ship into reverse, trying to get the Patri into range, but he's not cooperating, so he swaps over to his main battery guns. He has AP loaded in the tubes. Oh, the Patri is just out of range. This is very, very painful. It's like you know, you have little T-Rex arms, right? The Patri is showing a lot of side, though, keeping AP in the tubes because of that, but he also doesn't want to get exposed because the Patri's guns do hurt. It's basically a Republic with another turret. There we go. All 3 flights out on the Patri. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Patri is sailing right into the middle of all of them. A fair amount of these planes are getting shot down, but I mean, that's still a lot of planes. Oh, this is going to be beautiful. Look at all those bombs. And there we go. It did... Ooh, good hit. That was that, like a 20k strike? 2 fires, 12 bombs, pin. I think, like, what was that, like 18 hit? And 12 of them pinned. There we go. 166,000 damage done so far. Ooh, that Petro is going to get murdered here. Thanks to the Darlarna and the Patri there. You know, Petro's pretty tough, but it ain't tough enough to go running into the middle of a Patri and the Darlarna. Now, he did, you know, for a brief moment, delay them taking the cap, but yeah, I'm not sure if that was the correct move there. Because, I mean, right now, the enemy team doesn't have the cap advantage. The friendly team does. But, let's see. Surprised the Patry's not already just, derped into the cap and started capping it back. He did have an engine booster on. There he goes. Alright, Conqueror is dealing with an Awami and a Laria up north. And Conqueror's pretty tough, but he is stuck bow into an Awami and a Laria. I'm sure the Laria is probably having a tremendous time with the Patry right now. I'm sorry, with the Conqueror, because again, of the thin armor. Patry is healing back that strike that Alpha did to him. Gets one of his flights out on the Patry again. Hopefully this will, at least delay the cap. That way the friendly team can keep, stacking on those cap points. And nothing. The Patry managed to avoid it. I'm suspecting this Conqueror is going to be the next fella to go down. He got stuck bow into 2 ships, and that's just not good. With Conqueror, I hate to say it, but sometimes it'd be better to just, kind of rip the band-aid off and turn around. Yeah, you'd show him your broadside, but, I mean, you have the super heal, right? So you can kind of afford to do that rather than getting stuck bow in and facing a very slow, painful death. So that is unfortunate. So now it's 2 versus 1, 2, 3, 4. So now it's a 2v1, ladies and gentlemen. We might get a solo warrior out of this if the Shikishima goes down, but we shall see what happens. So there's 3 minutes left on the clock. The points are even. The Awami's probably about to get into the B cap. So things need to die and caps need to be taken. Hydro's up. The Darlana is spotting the golden line, and this is what I mean by having the spotting advantage. That's such a major thing to have late game, because now the enemy ships, they can see what the friendly team's doing, and they can get into very advantageous positions before they fire, because they can stay unspotted. Like the Patry, he can get an eye between himself and the golden line here to make sure when he fires, he stays unspotted. Or he can wait for the correct moment, the best moment for him, to fire his guns at the golden line because he can see him. Now, thankfully, Alpha did have his Hydro up, so he spots these torpedoes and he's able to avoid them. They are Darlana torps, they are Pan-Euro torps, so they don't hit as hard, but, I mean, you don't want to take any damage, you don't have to. Alright, so the C cap's been flipped, the enemy team has the points advantage, and now the B cap is getting flipped, so they're going to have a 3v1 points advantage. Ooh, Laria is quite low, though. The Patry ran back up north through the center to take the B cap. Now, thankfully, though, with the airstrikes, he doesn't have to have a clear line of sight to engage the enemy ships. He can, as you see, get his airstrikes over that mountain, and the planes don't care about the mountains, right? They just fly over them and such. So as long as he has spotting on them, he can drop his planes on them if they're in range. Now he has to deal with this Darlana. Which, I mean, again, he has great HE, so if he does spot him, he can do something about it. But, that would be the Darlana's goof up if he does get spotted by the Golden Lion. Shikishima's being a very, very bold man and running into the enemy team. That looks like a perfect Golden Lion-sized gap there, and it is! Just so. Drops one airstrike on the Awami. Oh, the Awami's just sitting there. Drops another one on him. There we go. Gets Confederate and 2 fires on the Awami. Surprised he didn't drop that third one on him, although he's probably going to burn out. Nope, he did damage con that one fire. Oh, he did get another airstrike out on him. There we go. So, gets another set of fires on him, drops his final flight on him for at least this round of aircraft. That should be a dead Awami. There we go. Kill number 4. That flips the caps in the advantage of the friendly team, but will it stay like that? Ooh, maybe. He's got to get into this cap. He's got to contest this cap, and it will. And that Shikishima cannot die, although he is playing Ring Around the Rosie with the Patry right now. So, now with Alpha getting in the cap circle here, he is now contesting the cap, meaning that the enemy team is still gaining points on the friendly team, but not at a fast enough rate to win, methinks. There come the Darlana torps. I'm surprised the Darlana hasn't opened up on him yet, because the guns in the Darlana are fairly decent. So there is that. Okay, so they have the advantage now. They just need to hold on to it for 18 more seconds. There's no random torpedoes out of nowhere that deletes him. This should be a win here. He's pumped the brakes up. There he goes. Darlana has opened up. Yep, it's a little bit too late for that, buddy. And there we go. The clock is ticking down 2-1-0, and that's a win, ladies and gentlemen. 193,000 damage done by Alpha there in the Golden Lion. Legendary, unique upgrade Golden Lion. So he got 88 bomb hits overall that round. 20 fires, my god. 4 kills, Confederate, devastating strike. And he came number 1 on the team with 2,100 base XP. That was quite an entertaining match there. Real close all the way through. I mean, excellent job by him getting in there at the end to get into that cap and, you know, deny the enemy that massive points lead that they were getting and expanding upon. And it's certainly coming in clutch with that kill on the Iwami there at the end. That was the points they needed to be able to jump into the lead and then just contest the 1 cap and win the match from there on out. So Alpha, thank you so much for sending that in. That was an excellent replay, most entertaining replay, showing off the goofiness that is the unique upgrade Golden Lion. What's really terrifying, if you get 3 of these guys in a division, they all drop their airstrikes at once on 1 ship. That's 9 airstrikes on 1 ship. That is quite terrifying. So anyway, guys, if you have an entertaining replay, a good replay like this that you'd like to have featured on the channel, you can send it into the email linked in the description down below, and you might find yourself here on the channel. Hope you guys have a wonderful Thursday, wonderful rest of your week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.